I know that sometimes all we want to do is grab our acoustic and head out to the beach or go camping or, just hang out with our family and friends and have fun playing songs. So in this series of videos, I wanted to give you some of the most important tips and skills that you need to be a campfire guitar hero. Things like making clean chords, making clean chord transitions, working on your timing, how to use a capo, and of course, how to play a few great campfire songs. This first video covers 13 essential chords, or what I think are essential chords to get through most songs that you would want to play around a campfire. And this is really important because if somebody says, hey, do you know the song? Hey, I have the chord chart for it. Or you can look the chord chart up on your phone, and if you know these 13 chords, you can get through most things, most songs, especially if you have a capo. So I'm gonna go through these and just give you some tips along the way to make your chords sound great at the same time. Let's take a look at this first chord. It's a C major chord, and you can learn a lot about making great, clean sounding chords from this one. And the biggest tip I have for you when you're making chords to get them to sound good is to take a look at your elbow and make sure it's not out like this. Make sure you bring it into your side a little bit, because watch what happens. It puts my fingers in a lot better position to make that C major chord. So keep that in mind as you're learning these chords. And the black dots on the C major chord diagram are the root notes, and then the white or non-filled in dots are just the other notes in the chord. Keep that in mind. Next chord is an A major chord. And a lot of guitar players struggle with kind of cramming their fingers all in one fret right here. So what you might want to do, instead of making it this traditional way, switch your first and second fingers around. That makes it a little bit easier to squish your fingers up there. And one thing you might want to do to make making chords a little bit easier is to elevate the guitar either with a strap or a footstool. Now I don't have a footstool out here, but I have a rock that I can set my foot on to raise it up a little higher, and you can get a bigger rock. The idea is that getting the guitar up a little bit higher like this, the neck up, puts the neck in a better position to make clean sounding chords and get a better angle of attack on those notes to make those chords. The next chord is an A minor chord, and what we're gonna do is just make a little bit of adjustment on our A major chord and leave the low E string out on the A major and the A minor chord. And one tip I have for you here, and this doesn't really necessarily refer to playing as much as it is to just something you need to do with your guitar. Make sure you get your guitar set up. And if you don't know what that just means you take it to your local music store and they make it as easy to play as possible without buzzing. That can really make your chord sound better and make it easier on your fingers too. Next chord is a G major, and you can make this one with your second, third, and fourth fingers like I do, or you can make it with your first, second, and third fingers. It's really up to you. But you strum all 6 strings. And the tip for this chord is to get your fingers right behind the frets, right up next to them. If you have them look kind of towards the middle or the back, you're gonna start to get some buzzing, and that'll make your chord sound kind of eh. So get that guitar elevated, elbow in, fingers right behind the frets, and you'll get some really good sounding chords. Next chord is an E major. This one's all 6 strings as well. And the tip I have for you for this one is to make sure to come down to the very tips of your fingers. If you're a little bit too relaxed and your fingers are laying over like this, you're gonna end up muting the higher strings or the neighboring strings of the strings you're fretting. So bring your elbow in, be on the very tips of your fingers, right behind the frets. And it'll sound good. Take your index finger off of that E major chord to play an E minor chord. That's a pretty easy one, but you still need to think about all the tips. Next chord, D major, and this one only uses the top 4 strings of the guitar. It doesn't use the low E or A strings, so leave those out. And one thing that really helps me when I'm learning new chords is to put the chord on, leave it there for a few seconds, like, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds, and then take it off, kind of shake it out completely, and then put it back on. And just do that over and over again. And you're gonna program that new chord into your fingers and into your brain. And as you do that, check each note, and if you hear something like that, go through the tips, right behind the fret, around the very tips of your fingers, elbow in, guitar up a little bit. Next chord is just a D minor. All you have to do is switch these 2 fingers right here to lower this note in the high E string by 1 fret, still leaving out the low E and A strings. That's it for the basic open chords that you need to know. And chord number 9 is just a power chord shape, and if you've never played this before, It's really handy because it's super easy shape to play and it can get you through a lot of different songs. So this is an F power chord, so I'm just gonna put my index finger on an F, and then my third finger is gonna go up 2 frets and over 1 string and play the 5th of that F, and that's why sometimes people call power chords 5 chords. But just play those 2 notes, and that's kind of the shape that you can move around to play different power chords when you're playing through Campfire songs. And one really good thing that power chord's gonna lead you into is memorizing the names of the notes on the low E and A string. So that's something to shoot for as you learn songs and learn how to move power chords around a little bit more. All right, we gotta get into some bar chords now, but don't be scared if you've never played these before. You can also do little partial shapes, and I'll show you what I mean. This is an F bar chord using an E major shape. So all we're doing is moving an E up 1/2 step or 1 fret and then slapping a bar on as kind of a movable nut. And the biggest tip I have for getting into bar chords is to get the bar down on its own first before even trying to make this shape. That'll help you get a little bit of technique down with that bar, and it'll help you build some strength too in your index finger. That way you can play these chords a little bit easier. Getting your guitar set up will help with this a lot too. Next is an E minor bar chord shape, and it's very similar to the E bar chord shape. All you have to do is take your middle finger off. And the tip I have for you for bar chords on this one is, by the time you've worked on, a little bit of bar technique and you built your strength up, make sure to get that bar right behind the fret and even tilt your finger back a little bit so it's on the edge of your finger instead of the kind of the fleshy bottom part of your finger there. And that'll help make your bar sound a little bit better. And if you don't want to play full bar chord shapes like this, you can play just a power chord, or you can play just the top 4 notes like this for major or minor. Actually, we're going to be using this one as a major, partial major, for the song that we're learning later. So that's a really important one to get down for the E major shape. All right, the last 2 shapes we need to do are A bar chord shapes. So the first one is an A major bar chord shape, and we're gonna play a B major chord. So basically you're just taking your A major shape, open A major, sliding it up 2 frets, and then come down with your bar, leaving the low E string out. That'll give you a B major. And you can use this to play B, B flat major. Those are 2 of the most common chords you're gonna need as far as bar chords for playing Campfire songs, right? Now to make this into a minor chord, all you have to do is change your fingers right here to a minor shape, A minor, and you get a B minor. Moved up 1 whole step and B flat minor. So I have some assignments for you. I'm gonna have assignments for you in each one of these videos, and your assignments for this video are, the first one is to learn all of the 8 open chord shapes and the power chord shapes too. You don't necessarily have to learn the bar chords for what we're gonna learn here, but the open chords and the power chords are pretty essential. In fact, if you wanna get more specific for this series of videos, you're gonna need to learn your F, like a partial F. You're gonna need a C. You're gonna need this bar chord or this power chord shape, and an F position, a B flat, and a C. We'll get to that later though. The main thing is that you just have this power chord shape down. F, some version of F, then a C, then the other chords are an A, an F sharp minor, and you can play just the top 4 strings if you want on that, a D major, and an E major. I bet you can guess what that song is. We'll see. We'll get to that one later though in the last lesson of this one. So I have a question for you. Of course, we're gonna be learning songs throughout these videos, but what are a few of the songs that you really wanna learn and get down and be able to play when you go camping or to the beach or when you're just hanging out with your family and friends? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next lesson.